Welcome back, Intermediate Algebra, for our second lesson of Chapter 1. This is Lesson 1.2. And I hope everything is going well so far with your first video and your first worksheet. But this lesson, the goal is I will be able to use the order of operations. We have to apply adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing in a certain order. And maybe you have heard the order referenced as PEMDAS. PEMDAS is a nice acronym that we can use for parentheses, exponents, multiply, division, add, subtract. PEMDAS. Well, when you are given a list of, let's do an example. Number 1, 11 times 7 minus 9 times 8. Written, 11 times 7 is in parentheses, minus 9 times 8. So I'm going to look at my expression. I'm going to do parentheses first. The P stands for parentheses. And sure enough, I have a parenthesis. So I'm going to solve the parenthesis first. What is 11 times 7? This dot means multiply. 11 times 7 is 77. So I'm going to write that down. Then I have a subtraction. So it's 77 minus 9 times 8. So now that I've done all of the parentheses, I'm looking for exponents. Do I have any exponents? I have no exponents, so I can move on. Now, after exponents, you either multiply or divide left to right. So it's multiply or divide, whichever comes left to right. So I'm going to start at the left of my problem, and whatever comes, it's got to be multiply or divide, doesn't matter. Do all the multiplying or dividing. So here it's 77 minus 9, so I don't do that. Do not subtract. I instead find this. This is a multiplying. So I'm going to go 9 times 8 is 72. So I have 77 minus 72. I have no more multiplying or dividing, so my last thing is addition or subtraction. So I'm going to add or subtract. And again, you have to go left to right. So I start at the left of my problem. 77 minus 72 is 5. And so 5 is my correct answer. Let's try another one. Example 2. 10 plus 2 times 6 minus 3 times 2 minus 1. Okay, so as we take a look at this, I'm going to use my PEMDAS, parentheses first. As you look at the entire line, I do see a set of parentheses, so I'm going to rewrite the entire line and solve the parenthesis. 10 plus 2 times 6 minus 3, and now I solve the 2 minus 1. The parenthesis 2 minus 1 is 1. So now I've done parentheses. I'm going to keep this in parentheses just so I know I have to multiply. Parentheses is done. Do I have any exponents? Nope, I do not have any exponents. Now I multiply or divide, left to right. So I start at the 10. That's not multiplying, so I don't do it. Instead, I multiply right here. 2 times 6 is 12. 10 plus 12. Now I have a subtraction sign. I do not do subtraction yet. I'm on multiplying or dividing. So I put a minus sign. What is 3 times 1? 3 times 1 is 3. Now I've done all multiplying and I've done all dividing, left to right. Now I'm going to add or subtract left to right. 10 plus 12 is 22. Take away 3 is 19. So my final answer is 19. Let's do one with powers. Let's do a problem with powers. Here's my third example. 108 divided by 3, parenthesis, 9 plus 3 squared, parenthesis, bracket. Okay, so I have 108 divided by, but then I have a bracket, so I'm going to have to deal with that bracket first. But inside the bracket, I have a parenthesis. So I'm going to do parenthesis first, the 9 plus 3 squared. But the problem is 9 plus 3 squared has a power. So I have to solve the exponent before I add. Exponents come before addition. 3 squared is 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Remember, 3 squared is not 6. It's 3 times 3, or 9. So what is 9 plus 9? It's 18. So my parenthesis is 18. This right here is, since there's no operation symbol, it's a times. 3 times 18. And divided by 108. Okay, so I have 108 divided by 3 times 18. How much is 3 times 18? Because I still have to do the parentheses first. A bracket is just another form of parenthesis. So I'm going to do 18 times 3. If you don't know it off the top of your head, go ahead and do it long multiplication. 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 2. I think it's good to do a long multiplication so you get used to all of your multiplication and division facts instead of always using a calculator. You could use a calculator to check your work. 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 2. 3 plus 2 is 5, so it's 54. 108 divided by 54. So I've done parentheses, I've done the exponents, I did the big bracket. Now I multiply or divide left to right. Well, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to divide. How many 54s in 108? Notice, 5 goes into 10 twice, 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 of these, 2 54s, go into 108. So the answer, 108 divided by 54, is 2. Okay, so that is the first part of the lesson, using the order of operations. Now what I want to do is I want to have you evaluate. When I use the word evaluate, I'm asking for, I want one answer. I want a numerical answer if I ask you to evaluate. For instance, let's do example A. If I have x plus y, how much is that if x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 10? What I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute a 5 in for x and a 10 in for y. Put a 5 in for x, put a 10 in for y. 5 plus 10 is 15. I just evaluated x plus y using those amounts. Letter B. Letter B, it is g plus 6t. G plus 6t. G is equal to the value 2, and t is equal to the value 11. I will always tell you what g and t or x and y are equal to if I'm asking you to evaluate. So in place of the letter G, I put a 2. So I'm going to rewrite this with a 2 plus 6 times 11. T is equal to 11. Now I'm going to use my order of operations. I have an adding part and I have a multiplying part. What comes first? Remember, the multiplying or dividing comes first, left to right. So I do not go 2 plus 6. Do not. That's the very end. What you do first is 6 times 11. 6 times 11 is 66 plus 2, which is 68. Now notice, if you did it the other way, you'd be going 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 times 11 is 88. Wrong answer. Correct answer, multiply first, then add. Remember, it's PEMDAS. And let's do some more, maybe a little bit more complicated problem. Would be something like this. 3g parenthesis g plus r squared minus 1. G is equal to 2. R is equal to 3. And that's all we need are G's and R's. So G is equal to 2, R is equal to 3. What you do first on the worksheet is rewrite the entire thing with those numbers in place of the letters. So it'll be 3 times, G is 2. 3 times 2 parenthesis, g is 2 plus r is the value 3. And then all of that is squared minus 1. Wow, it looks complicated, but let's just take it step by step. I want to do parentheses first. So here's the parenthesis. I'm going to do that first. Inside the parenthesis is 2 plus 3, so it's rewriting everything on the outside. 3 times 2 times 3 plus 2 is 5. So it's 5 to the second power minus 1. So I've done all of the parentheses. Anything with multiple terms inside the parentheses. Now I move to exponents. Here is my exponent, 5 squared. 5 squared is 5 times 5. It's 5 times itself. 5 times itself 2 times is 25. A lot of people say 10. 5 times 2, it's not 10. It's 5 times 5, or 25. So 3 times 2 times 25 minus 1. I've done parentheses, I've done exponents. Now I multiply or divide. You have to go start at the left. 3 times 2 is 6. 6, and then I have times 25 minus 1. What do I do next? Do I multiply 6 times 25, or do I do 25 take away 1? The answer is I always multiply before I subtract. So 6 times 25. Well, think of this. That's a hard one maybe, but 25 is like 25 cents, which is a quarter. How much is 6 quarters worth? 6 quarters worth is $1.50, 150. So 6 times 25 is 150. Take away 1. Now I can subtract. It's my last thing to do. 150 minus 1 is 149. So on your worksheet today, on the top section, you have some order of, you have some evaluating, and then on the bottom, you have X, Y, and Z with different values. Substitute those values in, use your order of operations. And so for each of these, 1 through 26, you should receive one answer. And tell you, just see what you can do. And I have an answer key for this on the module as well. So work through it, check your answer, and make sure that you're doing the order of operation correctly. All right? Thank you very much. And ask me questions during our Google Meet classroom time, and I'll be glad to help you with these. Thank you.